Welcome to Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, a special segment of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we explore mental health, well-being, and the positive impact parks and recreation have on building stronger, healthier communities. Hosted by Thomas White, join us every first Wednesday of the month at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations, real stories, and practical insights that help create safe places for everyone. In this episode, we're exploring mental health, wellness, and the power of creating supportive environments where people can grow, connect, and thrive. Join us for an inspiring conversation about building stronger communities through compassion and understanding.
All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, our brand new podcast with DPRS Media Co., in which we will be talking about the struggles that we all face. This is gonna be an evolution. We're gonna start with one topic and move to others over the next few episodes. You're gonna hear us talking and hearing from neurodivergent people that don't think like the typical person thinks for different reasons, and we'll go into that. And then the struggles that we all face at some point or another, those mental health struggles that bring us down. And we're going to talk about creating a safe space in our green workspaces so that we can all thrive and achieve things together that we never thought possible. But to start off, let's get with a couple of promos from DPRS Media Co.
It didn't start with a studio, or a big budget, or a perfect plan. It started with belief. Belief that stories matter. Belief that voices deserve to be heard. Belief that community is powerful. What began as a single conversation has grown into something far bigger than us. Today we pause, we reflect, and we say thank you. To our guests, thank you for showing up, for being honest, for trusting us with your stories and letting the world hear them. To our partners and sponsors, thank you for standing with us when the vision was still taking shape. Your belief gave this network its foundation. And to our audience, the ones who listened, who watched, who shared, who believed. You didn't just support DPRS Media Network, you built it. This past year changed everything. We grew our shows, we raised our standards, we reached new communities, and we told stories that needed to be told. From parks and recreation to sports, youth, technology, and culture, we learned something important. Growth isn't about numbers, it's about impact. As we grow, our mission becomes clear. Our mission is to create media that matters, media that educates, media that inspires, media that connects people through honest, human storytelling. To spotlight the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping parks, recreation, sports, and the future of our shared spaces. And our vision is bold. We envision a media network that doesn't just document the world, but helps shape it, where local voices spark global change, where communities see themselves reflected, and where media is a force for good. The future ahead is bigger than any single episode. More voices, more stories, more collaboration. Live events, original films, deeper conversations, and a growing community united by purpose. From episode 1 to episode 400, thank you for believing when it was hard. Thank you for staying when it was uncertain. And thank you for walking this journey with us. This is DPRS Media Network, built by community, driven by purpose, powered by stories. And we're just getting started.
Man, those promos get me every time. Craig is backstage with us today. He's not on here. He's running the backstage. Jovi's out sick. Jovi, we're thinking about you. But Craig is going to be running the backstage, so he's not actually going to be on with us. So it's just going to be the four of us. You get to hear us unfiltered, without Craig censoring us with his thought out questions. You get to see the crazy that happens when we don't have an adult in the room. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. We're all adults. It's going to be great. So let me introduce who we've got with us, and I'm going to go around after I introduce them. We've got Paige Ferguson, a special event assistant, Dr. Zach Graham, recreation program coordinator, and Katrina Wagner, special events coordinator, all with Henry County Parks and Recreation. And I am Thomas White, Deputy Administrator of Recreation with Henry County Parks and Recreation. And of course, I wanted to start this podcast. This is a monthly podcast, the first Wednesday of every month, a monthly podcast. Of course, I wanted to start it with the amazing people on my team and some people that are really dear to me. They help me create that safe space. They support me as a person with that is neurodivergent, with ADHD, and who struggles with lots of things in day-to-day work environments. They provide a space for me that is supportive and safe to where I can thrive. So I'm going to start with that little thank you. Let's see if I can get the heart thing to come up. Okay. Nope, can't get it to work. Sometimes when you do this, the StreamYard will create a heart. If one of y'all get it to work and I don't, I'm going to be, okay, no one got it to work, so we're good. We're good. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to go with this first. Let us introduce Miss Katrina Wagner. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all? I am. Go ahead, Thomas.
No, go ahead.
I'm Katrina Wagner. I'm the special events coordinator for Henry County, and I'm happy to be here today.
Dr. Zach Graham.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Zach Graham. I'm the Recreation Program Coordinator for Henry County Parks and Recreation, and I'm happy to be here to share some safe spaces and some mental health ideas.
And of course, the person who was told last minute again that she would be joining it. Seems like every podcast I have you on, it's because I tell you last minute that you're going to be doing it, is Paige Ferguson.
Hello, I am Paige Ferguson. I'm the special events assistant, and I'm also very happy to be here.
All right, we got a lot of things to talk about, but let's get real for just a second. What is safe spaces and green places? It may sound a little bit cliche, but that's okay. We want it to sound cliche. We want it to be obvious as to what this is. You know, when you think safe spaces, you're either going to go one or two ways. You're usually going to have an extreme reaction to that term because it's been popularized in a lot of different outlets, and that's okay. But we're defining what a safe space is. When we say safe space, we don't mean that a place that you can go and that you can be coddled or you can be shielded from the outside world. No, a safe space, as we are defining it, is a place where you can go and you can be supported, that you can have the foundation that you can achieve at the highest level because you're working in an environment in which people understand that you think differently, that you have mental health struggles, that you may not be like them every day, and you succeed despite it. That's what the safe space is. And so we're talking about how to create those safe spaces in our green spaces. Obviously, we're talking our safe places in our green spaces. And obviously, we mean Parks and Rec when we're talking about green spaces. We have environments that disproportionately, by far, has a higher number of neurodivergent people in it, simply because of the passion that we are often attracted to, the high energy, the fun that we are often attracted to. And so let's talk about how we create those spaces. I'm going to open it up to Dr. Zach Graham to tell us a little bit about. Zach is a deputy administrator. He is a doctor of occupational therapy and has done lots of work with different fields, and we are lucky to have him. Dr. Zach, take it away.
Yes, sir. So when looking at different safe spaces or green spaces, just like you were saying, sometimes it could depend on the area that you're looking for. You have your high energy green spaces, like for us speaking, like you have your ball fields, your basketball courts, areas where you can maybe release some energy or, release some other things so you can get back to feeling how you really are. Then you have like your traditioning type green spaces where, just like we have like at one of our parks, JP Mosley, or at North Mount Carmel, you have different trails where it's still a calming aspect to relax you. And so you can think or things of that nature, but everything isn't linear. Some turns, there's some curves around the way, there's signs you got to read, but it still lets you use your cognitive aspect, to release things. And then, of course, you have like areas where it's more quiet. Like, for instance, in our office, you have our conference room, or next door is the library, or just like a lot of our rec centers, there's a library or a quiet place in the county that you can go to get that, area, that time. And then like in occupational therapy, we look at like this model that we look at is the PEO model. And that looks at the person, environment, and the occupation. And that model, it looks at how when you're working in an occupation, how your environment and how yourself gets affected through your job. So essentially you find ways through this model to essentially kind of put everything together where your environment, yourself, and your job all coincide. So where you have, safe mental health and you're functioning in an executive manner.
Sure. Thank you so much. And that executive functioning is an important part. With ADHD, which is what I have, the prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped. And so my executive function works differently. I'm not going to say the word impaired. I think we use the word impaired too often. It's not that it's impaired, it's that it performs in a different manner than what others, hence the term neurodivergent. So my neural pathways, how do I get to conclusions, how I do things are different from the neurotypical person whose prefrontal cortex formed how it was supposed to be. Now that manifests in a lot of different ways. It'll manifest hyperactivity. Obviously, everybody who knows me knows how hyper I am. Impulsivity. I'm probably one of the most impulsive people you'll ever know. From time to time, I will be scatterbrained. Does that sound like me, everybody? Does that sound like something like me? Scatterbrained? I don't know. Thanks for the support. And because my executive function is different, and so creating a safe space is about creating a place where people who have those different functions, who have those different struggles that they face with every day, whether it's neurodivergence or it's a mental health struggle. Maybe you're suffering from depression and you're scared to admit it because you work in a place where that is so stigmatized that you don't want to share it. I'm going to turn it over to Katrina a little bit, and then Paige to just weigh in here as you will. And feel free, guys, we don't have a script. I want you to weigh in unedited, the thoughts that are coming through your mind right now, and then we're going to get into my story. Go ahead, Katrina.
Well, the thoughts that were going through my mind as you were speaking was, I have dyslexia, and my neurodivergent comes off a little different than yours sometimes, but then at certain times it's very much the same. And what I have found here at Henry County in our safe spaces in our office is that no matter what we're going through, there is somebody that we can go sit down and say, hey, I need to take 15 minutes. I need to take a day. I need a moment to regather everything. I've even had Michelle tell me, you need to walk outside for a second. Just go outside, reset, and come back in. And I feel like there are superpowers because even though we get disheveled at times and need to have that reset, we have the support that we need, and then we're able to then refocus and accomplish great things with it because we have had that support.
100%. Thank you, Katrina. Michelle has often told me to get out, but usually it's not because she's trying to help me. Usually it's because I've annoyed her. But that's okay. That's okay. Paige, what's going through your mind right now?
So kind of going off of what Katrina was saying, I think it's really important for that communication aspect is to nurture an environment and a culture where you work that is rewarding of that communication. Because if we're unaware of what's going on, if y'all don't communicate with us that y'all need that moment to just, go away, reset, or if we don't know that you think differently than the way, if we're having a conversation, Thomas, where we're discussing something work related and you're going to go and I'm going to go and we're going to think differently or something like that. I need to know where you stand. I need to know that although you think differently, we're going to come together and communicate. We're going to communicate. So yeah, just nurturing that culture and speaking up, and also speaking up for others who also think differently when because people do clash with that sometimes. My sister has ADHD, so I know that from a personal standpoint. And also just understanding, taking that time to understand where they're coming from, because you might not be used to it. You might not be used to the way that person thinks differently or goes about things differently than you. So you're going to be seeing things from a different standpoint. So,
Zach, it seems like you want to weigh in here. I want to say something energy. Feel free to interrupt.
Oh, yeah, no, sir. No, I was listening to Paige, and honestly, that is very important. That's what I try to tell my staff specifically, because they, sometimes the kids can get to them. And I know with that, I always tell them, like, hey, if you need a moment to, go to your car, walk on the walking track, talk to your supervisor, talk to me, and then we can, get the assistance you need. Because the last thing, you don't want someone where it gets to a point where it's like too late, where work and everything's such a drain, and now like that light at the end of the tunnel is now becoming dimmer, so ideally you do, like what Paige was talking about, you do want to, talk to people, find out, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how can we come together to make sure everything works smoothly, and yet and still also build that relationship where people, your staff, anybody that you work with feel comfortable where they can talk to you, maybe even about little things where it's like, hey, I'm not feeling it today. I do need to go outside or do something like that. Or if it's something where you could build that relationship where you can talk to someone in your, organization or where you work with and feel comfortable, expressing certain manners. Or just like sometimes, like I tell my staff, we, luckily here at Henry County, and luckily it's free to walk in, you could go actually talk to somebody. And that's a beautiful thing where you can go talk and, let someone help guide you back to where you want to be, or give you some advice, or let you know that you are, doing a great job, or you are a great person, things of that nature.
And I purposely created the group that we have today with us because we have 3 different generations that represented. Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z are all represented here. And I really wanted to do that because I wanted to show the difference in how we're thinking. Because when Katrina and I were younger, the idea of a safe place at work was a safe space at work was not a thing. Was not a thing. You worked, you got your job done, you didn't stop for any reason. There was stigma against mental health. And then as I was starting to hit the workforce in 2000, well, I had the part-time job in the early 2000s when I was in high school, but when I started going full-time in 2007, things were changing, but that environment was very much still there. So now you're going to hear a little bit about my story, and I'm going to tell you there are some raw parts of what you're going to hear. So if this is not something that you want to listen to, now would be a good time to maybe put us on mute for about 5 minutes. But it's going to have some dark aspects of what we're going through. So I flunked out of college the first time. I spent my time partying and flunked out of college the first time that I went there, straight out of high school. Left with a 1.6 GPA, and probably would have been lower, but I didn't actually ever count the last classes. So it probably actually was a lot lower than 1.6 GPA. But I struggled a lot. I had a lot of I didn't know where I wanted to go in life. I wound up being just a couple of weeks away from being homeless. And I took the first job that I could get that paid the money that I needed to pay my bills. I started working at a state prison. And for the next 13 years, I worked at a state prison, with my last duty station being a high max prison. I was stabbed, hit in the head with a lock, thrown down a flight of stairs. I had 21 inmates jump on me and beat me to the point that it took 5 other officers to pull me out. When I left that environment, there was trauma there. I didn't know about the trauma, but the entire time that I had worked with the prison system, it was that same mentality that I had seen growing up and that I'd seen in my early work career. It was that same mentality. You come, despite what it is, despite what you're going through, it doesn't matter. You come to work, you work it, you don't complain, you get it done. The idea of a safe space was not a thing. The idea of talking about your struggles at work was not a thing. In fact, you could actually get in trouble for being too personal, talking about what you were going through. You could actually get in trouble doing that. And so I never told anyone. I never discussed the trauma. To me, it wasn't trauma. It's just something that happened. And so when I left the prison, I had years and years and years of just events that were piled up on me. My last week there, I had feces thrown on me 4 separate times to where it got in my eyes and in my mouth. Feces and urine mixed together. And this is the part where I was like tuned out for about 5 minutes. So, Zach, you just came back from lunch. I'm sorry. But I had that, and I just internalized it. And when I left there, I was fortunate enough to start working with the great place that I'm working now. Started working in parks and recreation and really living a passion. I still had trauma that I had not dealt with, and I still had, people could start to tell. And it started manifesting in strange ways. I was having, and keep in mind, I've had ADHD this whole time. I never took medication for the ADHD. I had a traumatic brain injury in 2017 that actually compounded already the issues that I was having with ADHD because of the trauma to the prefrontal lobe that I had during the wreck that I was in and had that traumatic brain injury. So we had undiagnosed ADHD, traumatic brain injury, trauma from the prison, all piling up, all waiting to be up under the surface and refusing to talk about it, refusing to be in an environment. And it would start manifesting panic attacks that I didn't realize that's what they were. I didn't know they were panic attacks. What would happen, I would be in the grocery store checkout line. It always happened here. If I had to wait, or if something was not scanning right or something in the self-checkout, I would get drenched in sweat. I would start having trouble breathing. I thought I was having low blood sugar. So I would grab a Dr. Pepper and a candy bar and eat it as soon as I got to the car from the grocery store, and the symptoms would go away. So that reinforced the idea that I had low blood sugar. What it was the one, I was removing myself from the environment that was causing the panic attack, triggering the panic attacks rather. And 2, the taste of the candy and the sugar was interrupting that neural receptor that was giving me the negative feedback and causing the trigger. I didn't know that, obviously, but it should have been an indication that something was wrong. But what it was, I was feeling trapped in that area. And after 13 years of working in a prison, being trapped was not a good thing in the prison, because that meant that your chances of being harmed was much, much higher. And so these panic attacks were breaking out when I was in this situation. And it continued to get worse and worse and worse till just one day, it wasn't just the checkout line. It was everywhere. And I sank into a deep depression to where I just wouldn't talk about it, and I struggled. I lost, this number changes every time because I still can't get it right. I think it was 20 pounds in less than a month. Wound up losing 50 before it was all over with. Coming to work was the one thing, because if I was at home, you would think, hey, take some time off, be at home. But when I was at home, while my wife was at work, I would be left alone with my thoughts. And that wasn't helping anything. That was just making me rethink of it over and over again. But at work, I had a support system that I didn't know. I had people that cared, that asked me how I was doing, that was there for me despite my struggle. In fact, when I was going through the extreme weight loss, I had not eaten in over a week by that point. And Katrina actually sent her husband to get a smoothie for me and make me drink the smoothie just so I could get some nutrients in, because nothing else was staying down. And that probably helped me from having worse physical symptoms than I had before. And I'm sorry, this is difficult to talk about, to go through, so I keep pausing. But I had a safe space, and it was my coworkers that helped me get through it, that helped me talk it out, that made me feel okay going through what I was going in my work environment. And that's what we want to help other people recreate. We want to make sure that every Parks and Rec profession, that the profession as a whole, is a place that celebrates those that have struggled, those that think differently, those that have different issues. We want to make sure everybody knows it's okay. You are enough to succeed exactly how you are. You can do that. I'm going to put this phone on silent because it keeps going off. You are enough to succeed exactly how you are. You don't need to change anything. And the Parks and Rec profession can be a home for you, and you can do amazing things. And leaders, we're going to get into it in the second half. Leaders, you have the responsibility to create that safe space, to create a place where people can thrive. And that will set the difference between what you can achieve and the amazing things that you will achieve. So, what's going through your minds now? Let's go to Zach this time. What you got, Zach?
No, I was just sitting here really listening to your testimony because I've definitely heard it a few times, but each time it definitely always gets to me because I think everyone definitely goes through a time period where it's like, I'm glad like you could talk about it. I mean, I still have problems with myself, but we're working on it. We're getting there. But no, it's, I guess for me, I was really just kind of listening to what you were saying and kind of thinking about my own life and things that I deal with. So I was really just, it's a good thing to hear that for you, you made it out. There is the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just, it's just a brief period that, everyone may deal with, that you have to be strong and get through. And then again, having good people around you also helps. And that's why one thing I can say, like, about our job, like, thank God, like, it is a place where I feel like pretty much everyone looks forward to coming to work. No one really likes using comp time or staying off work. So typically, and that's the beauty of this job. And that's the beauty of it here, where we have that type of resources. But the thing is, like, to all our viewers and everyone, it's about building that within your own agencies or within your own organizations, where people have that feeling of, at least at work, I can talk to somebody at my job, or somebody at my job can help me get through what I'm getting through. Or if it's not even that, somebody outside of work, of course, that's a great thing. But it is also nice, like, the place where typically most people spend 40 hours of their week at is their job. And if you can get some resources from that, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're really fortunate that our assistant director, our deputy director, our executive director, and our county manager and deputy county manager, they're all very supportive of mental health in the workplace and making sure that we have a great place. We are very fortunate, and we want other people to be that fortunate too. Paige, what's running through your mind?
I think it's great that you are using this platform to try to reach others.
Thank you. True, I am great. I agree. Thank you.
Okay. What was kind of going through my mind was, I think it's, like I said before, creating a culture of the communication. But kind of how Zach said, is sometimes it's hard to communicate what you've been through or how you're feeling, or if you're going through anxiety, or if you have ADHD, or you don't understand, if you don't even know yet, and you seem like everything is a little bit more difficult, but this platform, you sharing your story, is hopefully going to give other people the courage to then share what is going on, even if it's just for a minute, just having anxiety and you don't know what to do. And like I said, that communication is very, very important. So,
thank you. Thank you, Paige. Yes. And Katrina, I'm going to come to you after the break, but really quickly, you're going to start us off after the break, but really quickly, everybody, there's something really important that Paige just said: communication. It is okay that you were struggling. I want everybody to hear this right now, because all of us have struggled in some way or another with our mental health. Something has happened, big or small, that has given you pause, and you have struggled with it. I am a man of faith. I rely on my faith, my spiritual faith, my faith in God, but also my faith in other people, my faith that the human spirit can come back from anything. And if you're in that spot right now, it's okay to communicate. It's okay to share what you're going through. It's okay to let it out, to put it out there, to share with the world, because there are other people that are going through the same thing as you. No matter what act they may put on, there are other people that are going through what you're going through. One thing that I want to make sure we get apart, that we get through to everybody: you are not alone. And together we can face anything. Let's go to break. We got a couple of promos to play.
This year, we didn't just attend an event. We became part of something bigger. IPRA 2026 brought together leaders, innovators, and community builders, all united by one mission: to strengthen parks, recreation, and the people they serve. For DPRS Media Network, it was an honor to join IPRA 2026 and take part in meaningful, real-time conversations, capturing stories and amplifying voices that matter. To IPRA, thank you for creating a space where collaboration thrives and the future of parks and recreation is shaped together. We extend our deepest gratitude to Amelia and all our partners who made these live interviews possible. IPRA 2026 wasn't just an event, it was a reminder that when communities connect and stories are shared, impact follows. From all of us at DPRS Media Network, thank you, IPRA. Thank you, partners and sponsors. We're honored to stand with you and excited for what's next.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
All right, we are back. Thank you all so much. And so we're going to pick up with you, Katrina. And I don't know, after following Outdoor Link's promo right there, I'm kind of nervous. That was one great promo. Craig, I loved that. That was awesome. But they're creating safer spaces with their lights too. So Katrina, take away your thoughts before we go into this new section. We're gonna discuss creating those spaces. Go ahead, Katrina, your thoughts.
Okay, I was going to say what my thoughts were when you were sharing it, and when Zach and Paige were both sharing as well, is sometimes you don't know what somebody's going through that's around you. For instance, I had no idea how deep your place was at the time. What I was doing was not where I was just looking for, oh, I need to do something for Thomas. It wasn't like that. It was a culture that we all have every day. And today it may be me, and tomorrow it may be Naomi, and the next day you. Any of us that have that struggle, we try to be aware of the other one. So it's not something, yes, we have to cultivate the culture, but it's not something that we are trying hard to accomplish every day. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's ironic that you mentioned Naomi, because when it happened, that was the week Naomi started with us as an intern. And so I was making sure that I was masking even more, because I knew that I did not want to expose her to what I was feeling. She was 17 at the time, high school intern. She was excited. And that first week that she started was when I hit the lowest point. And so I was masking hard at work so she wouldn't see that. In fact, I think we have Naomi with us right now. Is she there? What do you know? Naomi Betzel, everybody. One of our first interns. Naomi, do you remember that first week?
I do, yeah. It was wild. I could tell that something wasn't quite right because we had an interview months before,
Right.
and it definitely didn't seem right. But
Right. Energy was not the same, that's for sure.
you had the space here to open up and get better.
I actually told Katrina, don't let Naomi leave your office so I can pick on her halfway through and put her on camera. So thank you for doing that, Katrina. So, all right, back to what we were saying. So we had that culture, that place where you could come in and you could talk about it. Now, how do we create that? So Katrina said something really important just then. It starts with the small things. It has to be a complete culture. It's not just a policy that you put in place saying, hey, 15 minutes a day, you can come and talk to me about your problems in the break area over a cup of coffee. That's just something. If you want to do that, that might be nice for some people. That's fine. But that's not enough. That's not enough. The culture change is something that affects all aspects. And it starts with something very simple. You don't know what people are going through every day. But if you treat them with respect, with encouragement, and control that energy, that goes a long way to making people feel comfortable. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to alter your personality at all to do that. Paige is one of the harshest people I will ever meet. She hurts my feelings almost every day, but I know that
not true.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm talking about Michelle, actually, not Paige. Michelle is one of and she's going to kill me when she sees this. She's one of the harshest people that I will ever meet. She will tell you exactly how it is. And that's good. That's a good thing. But I know at the end of the day that she respects me, that she cares about me, because when something's going on, when she thinks you're looking down, she's the first one to ask what's wrong. She's the first one, no matter what she may be going through herself, she's the first one to step up and be a kind heart there. Michelle, and you guys haven't met Jamie Dixon yet. For those of you that are familiar with Brian Dixon, Jamie is his wife. And Jamie, we call her the director of first impressions. So we put her out there when new people come in because we want her to lead the way with the positivity that she has. Now, if you get her off on her own and talk to her for a second, you may not get very much positivity out of her. But when it comes to work, she is going to be the most powerful, the most caring, the most positive person that you're going to speak to, and it starts it out right. We keep that going. We have things like our breakfast club where we meet every single morning, though we've been doing bad about that the past couple of weeks. Everybody's been out with the flu left and right, and so our breakfast club has been dramatically impacted by the flu and COVID that are surging up right now. I had it myself. Everybody's been out sick recently. So our breakfast club numbers have dwindled the past few weeks, but they'll bounce back up. There will be days when we have 3 people there and days when we have 15 people there. It just depends. But people can talk about their problems during that. Everyone talks about the issues that we go through. And so it's that culture to where talking about what you're going through, talking about the problems that you have, you're able to do that. And it may not be that we're talking about the issue that we think we're talking about. For example, I may come to you and complain about a frustration I have, but it's not actually that issue, and I may not be aware of it. It's not actually that frustration that's bothering me. Say, for example, Zach has called in yet again, and I am frustrated that Zach is calling in. Zach doesn't call in. In fact, he had a dental procedure the other day and came to work anyway and worked with after school kids, even though I told him not to. I was gone for 5 minutes. I turn around, he's at work. No, trust me, he doesn't. I have to stay to make him go home. Somebody has to be there to send him home. No, he doesn't call in. But I'm saying you could have that frustration. I'm complaining about that frustration, but really deep down, the frustration was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Those grocery store checkout lines that I went through, those were not the issue. Those were what triggered the deeper issue. However, being able to talk about it and tell other people, it gets you to thinking that maybe there's something else going here. I didn't know there was something else going here. I thought my blood sugar kept dropping. And this had been going on for years, but it had progressively gotten worse since I left the prison and was out of that environment. The prison, you stayed so busy that I used to walk 30,000 plus steps a day that there was no downtime to think about that. And Zach, I know you deal with a lot of that with a lot of the kids that we have in our after school program. And it's a form of, it's part of masking, I guess. The child themselves may not know what the issue is, why they're so hyperactive, why they're getting upset, why they're getting certain things, but it's those neural pathways are not there. You want to elaborate, or rather the neural pathways are not adequately formed or in the way that it should be.
Yes, sir. Like, typically though, and then with those kids, like when I see that at certain different facilities, then I usually, put on my like a little detective hat and I start to, ask some questions just to see like, what are some things, like if they're hyperactive, to calm them down, or I talk to the staff like, hey, from my observations, we could still do enrichment with them, but maybe when we do enrichment and homework, we make it almost into a game. Like, all right, you answer this question and then you run to this side of the classroom. You answer this question, just to elicit that type of where that behavior is accepted in our program, and we will work with you in our program. Granted, do we have all the tools and necessarily needs to completely effectively, do it all the way together? No, due to the time duration, but we find ways to adapt to each child so they can still learn, they can still have fun, and then they can still grow within our program. And then also seeing with some kids, just building that relationship of comfortability. Like there's definitely kids in our program that, have some, they may be EBD, have some emotional behavior, just problems, things of that sort, where then you kind of have to get to an emotional level so they can understand you can understand them. So it doesn't just turn to, oh, this is just a bad kid. No, this is just a kid that doesn't understand the environment, can't control his or her reactions. So then, you make that relationship, you make that bond. So then, essentially they'll end up loving after school. They'll love being there. They'll respect the staff. They'll respect the other kids. And then, I try to, typically hopefully get that to carry over to school, but that, hey, working in steps.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I am not saying you, oh, go ahead, Paige.
Can I say something? So something that I just started thinking about was when you want to cultivate a culture of communication and all those things, you have to set up the building blocks for it, because people who come into workplace not knowing exactly what ADHD is or neurodivergence, or they're not going to understand how to communicate well or help them. And then with after school, when I first started in 2024 with Parks and Recreation, I was an after school supervisor, and I worked with kids only once before.
You started with after school, and you were there for several months too. And I completely forget about that.
Yes.
I still get where's Miss Paige at all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Your JP kids love you.
I'm here now. Still here, but I didn't understand a lot of how the kids acted, especially when they had tantrums or they were saying things or going off the wall crazy. But some of the things I didn't understand. But with Parks and Rec, the program, it's set up, they had an expert come in. And I don't know, Zach, if you remember this, but an expert came in and spoke to a lot of the after school supervisors. Yes, Katrina, do you remember?
Lori, I'm pretty sure it was Lori.
Yes, Lori came in and set us up for more success. Yes.
That's Lori Harris from Superpowers for Good. I'm pretty sure she has been on the podcast or is about to be on the Leadership Series podcast, one of the two.
But yes, but that communication to us, to be able to then understand and communicate better with the kids, was a game changer. And it was right after they did that I moved over here and I stopped with after school. And I was kind of sad I couldn't put it more into practice, but it really helped. So when you're cultivating that culture of communication amongst your team, to be able to come and confide in you, or even just to be able to spot when someone is off, is you have to educate your team on how to understand, or what even to understand. The different people, different ways that they work is very important when it comes to being able to even just communicate.
You keep saying some really good stuff and educating your team. That's where it's got to start. I mean, really and truly, people have to know what the environment is, because there is still a stigma, especially from millennials and older. There is still a heavy stigma about mental health. That, yes, it has crumbled a great deal, it has faded a great deal, but it is still there in coworkers my age and older. I'm 39, and even I was still experiencing it in my 30s. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, so I'm 28, and I started working when I was 15 years old. I was a dishwasher, or I washed dishes. But growing up, it was always instilled in me to leave everything outside, like leave it all at the door, come in, whatever you're going through, whatever is going on. So even still, because I'm much younger than you, but even still, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But still,
usually I'm the one
like
making that in our podcast, but I bring Paige and Zach on, and I can't do that anymore. So,
but still, I still feel like there's still that stigma of hold it under, leave it in, but it also has to do with different people, and how just naturally they are, how their brains naturally work, the way that they were born, how they think. And so it's just how I feel like I am. Is now I know over years it's good to share when I'm going through something and it's affecting the way that I'm working, because then it affects how other things happen. It affects the team and the collaboration. But there definitely is still a stigma there with that.
And I think it's how different people cope as well. You know, everybody has heard the phrase, don't bring your personal stuff to work with you, leave it at the door, that sort of thing. Everybody, and to a degree, that definitely makes sense. You don't want what you're going through in your personal life to negatively affect what you're going through at work. But at the same time, if you bury it so deep because the emotions are going to come up, if you bury it so deep that the emotions come up, you haven't dealt with it and they burst out, and suddenly you do something that was definitely not great for your career. How much of that is because you've buried it? How much of it is because you buried it? So, and just suppressed it. So there is a certain degree to where we have to say, yes, don't let your personal life affect your job in a negative way, but that doesn't mean don't let it affect your job. My personal life is why I'm so passionate about Parks and Rec. Go ahead, Katrina.
I was just going to add to what y'all are saying. As the elder of the group here,
it's ironic because I actually think the same age difference between me and Paige is the age difference between you and me. I think it's the same age difference.
This is what I've learned. It's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. And when y'all are saying that, that's what keeps going through my mind. That's what I've learned through my years. Is it's okay to say I'm not okay today. Mm-hmm. And
I agree.
The majority of what is embraced on that is there are days it's okay not to be okay.
And I think departments, if they would accept that some days people aren't going to be okay. I repressed everything at the prison. I held it all in. Um, and it was not good for me. I mean, look at how much I accomplished over 13 years. Hardly anything. Yes, I got my bachelor's and my master's degree while I was there. Yes, I did do that. But what did I do outside of getting my degrees? Since leaving the prison system, I oversee 130 people, 6 facilities. I have published 4 books. I speak at conferences and workshops all over. I'm on this podcast that has more to do with Craig than how great I am. But I am interviewed a lot. I sit on different boards of directors, including our GRPA, which is Georgia Recreation Park Association Board of Trustees. Granted, this is my last year on the Board of Trustees, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that I have accomplished more in being able to express myself and not be in an environment where I repressed how I was feeling than I ever did while I was there. Because I feel like if you have that leave it at the door mentality when you come in, and again, I want to clarify, do not let what you're personally going through negatively impact your work. Find the balance. That's the key word. Find the balance. But if I'm actively repressing that so that I don't feel it or let anybody know at work what I'm going through, that's not going to be the only thing I'm suppressing. So am I suppressing my creativity? Am I suppressing my ambition? Am I suppressing my willingness to help others? What else mentally am I suppressing? Zach, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say specifically, like looking at it from myself and how most men are, we definitely suppress everything
Yeah.
to a sense where we will unfortunately blow up. I know I definitely had a problem with that. Probably still do. Like where you're like, just get through the day, you're fine. Or, sometimes I hear some stuff my dad used to tell me in my head. So like, I'm like,
Yep.
all right, come on, just like push through. But that is like you were saying, that is kind of definitely dangerous to do, because then you'll eventually hit your point where you're going to break. And you don't want, like you said, that break to happen where it costs you something in life or your job, or, you lose out on something within yourself or put yourself in harm's way, or anything of that such. So I think definitely suppressing things is dangerous. Like just even going off of like what I've seen in social media on the news in the past couple of weeks with different football players, sadly committing suicide, where in those situations, these are people that have made millions and still, over the years, they might have, suppressed energy or felt a certain way where they needed someone to talk to at work or at home in their life to let them know, like, hey, you're a great person. You're going to get through this and this, that, and the third. And I do believe, like, especially within men, that is the dangerous aspect of it. I mean, of course, women, of course, they do it too, but with us, it's more of like an ego thing where it's like we feel like we have to be this certain image, or even at work, we have to, because we're this certain leader, we have this certain title, we have to look this certain way. Where in those situations, you kind of got to realize that you still have to be yourself at the end of the day, or you have to go home to yourself at the end of the day. And you don't want to take things that you've suppressed from work or in your personal life, just let it bundle together, and then eventually you explode into a frenzy.
Yeah, definitely. There are 2 things that we can take back to agencies right now from this episode. One, create a place, a work environment. And when I say place, I don't mean you take a classroom at your work and make that the same place. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying make your work environment a place where people feel comfortable talking about their emotions and what they're going through. Feel comfortable coming to you as a leader or a coworker and not being okay. Maybe you're not asking them to share their emotions. That's fine. Not everybody is capable of receiving. Not everybody is capable of sharing. But you accept that people may be going through something. And so the fact that a person may be going through something judges your own actions. So one thing, and I I won't go too deep into scripture quotation right now, but one thing that I guide myself by is love God, love people. Those two commandments: love God, love people. And if I love people, if I treat people with love, then the way that I treat them will not be in a negative way, regardless of what I do, if I keep that at the forefront of my mind. And whether you're spiritual, you're religious, or you're not, or you're just a good person, that's good advice for anybody. Love others. Love others. So one, create that space to where you are welcoming and people feel comfortable being who they are, struggling with what they're struggling with, and they don't feel like they're going to be judged because of those struggles. And then two, as Paige said, educate your team. Educate the people that you work with, whether it's you as the director or you as the special event assistant and you're talking to your coworkers. Either way works. You're creating the culture that you want to see. Educate your team about what people struggle with, about what they go through. And those are the first steps of creating a safe space. So as we end this up, I want to start a tradition, because this is our first episode of Safe Spaces in Green Places. I just realized I've been saying that backwards the whole time. It's safe places in green spaces. I even put it on the banner wrong. Craig, I've been saying this backwards the whole time. It's safe places in green spaces. Okay, I'm going to write this down so I get it right. So this is our first episode of Safe Places in Green Spaces. I want to end it with this new tradition. Paige, tell us what you're taking away from this interview. Just sum it up in one thing. What are you taking away?
I'm taking away, because this is another thought I had, but I won't get into it, is that even if I don't feel comfortable talking to someone, if I see they're off, to tell somebody else who might feel more comfortable talking.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Dr. Zach, what do you got?
From this, I'll say just within my staff or just people in the office, just reassurance with everyone, just checking in on everyone, making sure they're okay. Even like I liked what Jamie did this week with the little turtle. Like that was something, you know, every time I walk into the office, I'm going to read this note and have this little turtle here. So that's definitely like what I definitely just check in on everyone, make sure everyone's okay. Like, especially like on my side, like I know a lot of my staff, they're in college or taking classes. I always try to, you know, give them advice, tell them, you know, positive thinking, positive things, like, you know, things of that sort. And I think from this podcast, the biggest thing I'm going to take away from it is really like just positivity. You creating positive, safe areas at work, positive talks, positive, you know, reinforcement, positive outlooks of work, and everything of that. So I would say just trying to bring positive and keep everyone, you know, lights shining bright.
Thank you so much. And Katrina.
Well, Thomas, I think you said it best when you said that you try to love people. That's my takeaway, that I want to embrace and love the people around me, whether that be the community or my employees or my coworkers. I want to love more.
All right. Thank you all so much. I want to end it this way myself, with just saying that it's okay to go what you're going through. All of us are going through it, and you're not alone. I've been through it myself. I've been in one of the darkest parts of my life, but then I came out and I achieved more than I ever thought I would. So you may feel down right now. You may be struggling right now, and that's completely okay, because you're not alone. Remember this: at the end of the day, you are enough. You are enough right now to change your circumstances. You are enough to climb out of that hole. You are enough to be loved, to be better, to be changed. Everybody, thank you so much. Join us the first Wednesday of every month here for creating safe places in green spaces. Thank you.
Before the game, before the lights, before the pressure, there's a moment most people never see. Welcome to The Athlete's Commute, a podcast distributed by DPRS Media Network, co-produced by Her Sports, and hosted by Jordan Ziff. Each episode, Jordan gets behind the wheel, driving athletes to practice, to training, to game day, while getting to know who they really are beyond the jersey. The mindset, the grind, the sacrifices, the moments no one talks about. No scripts, no filters, just real conversations in real motion. Because every athlete has a journey, and every journey deserves to be heard. This is the Athlete's Commute. Buckle up.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.